ring if you're ready to care. Oh, let's talk power, let's talk speed. Hosted by the one and only WETOODEEP. Turn it up loud, feel the power in your seat. This is slapping meat, yes, slapping meat. From suplex dreams to championship gold, stories untold and action so bold. The match shakes fury and fire within. We're breaking it down, let the podcast begin. Oh, let's talk power, let's talk speed. Hosted by the one and only WETOODEEP. Turn it up loud, feel the power in your seat. This is slapping meat, yes, slapping meat. Takes and debates flying through the air. Turnbuckles pounding with passion and flair. Grab your earbuds, it's a front row ride. Step into the chaos where we collide. Oh, let's talk power, let's talk speed. Hosted by the one and only WETOODEEP. Turn up loud, feel the power in your seat. This is slapping meat, yes, slapping meat. Slapping meat.
And what is good, everybody? It is your boy WETOODEEP, also known as Fed Shill Randy, and we are back with another episode of the Slappin' Meat Wrestling Podcast. We got a lot to talk about today. On this episode, here on this Friday morning, as I'm recording this podcast, we're going to break down some of the news that's going around with pro wrestling. And especially this new deal that ESPN and WWE has brought around. We'll talk about that. We're going to do some more Deep 5. And we're going to do my top 5 women and the top 5 men currently in WWE, exclusive to just the main roster. I'm not going to include NXT, just the main roster. My top 5 men, my top 5 women, that's on Raw or SmackDown. Excuse me. And we're going to do Fantasy Book Friday. That's a good one. We'll do our bracket battles. We'll talk about the question of the week. We'll do some questions from Discord. And then we'll do our final thoughts. We got a good topic there. And another surprise possibly coming at the end of this episode. So stick around. This is Slappin' Meat Wrestling Podcast. Let's dive on in. And I gotta start with this, right? So I was a little bit mad when I planned this show, and I'm still a little bit mad when I'm talking about this particular topic. So a while ago, and by a while I mean like in April, the other month in the year that starts with an A, we're now in August. So the other one that starts with an A, April, that's 4 months ago. I put in an order for some of the merchandise that I tried to sell, right? 2 t-shirts, a sticker to put on my car, and a mug. Of those 4 items, I've received the sticker. That came here at a decent rate. The mug came here like a month or 2 ago. I still have yet to receive the t-shirts. Now, I was at a point where, like, I had emailed them probably a month or 2 ago, and said, hey, where are my shirts? And they're like, hey, we're on back order. Okay, you're busy. I don't quite understand how this happens, but it is what it is. Now, I delete all these emails thinking it'll show up eventually, and when it does, I'll be surprised. Well, I've had enough of waiting. I've had enough of waiting for these shirts. So I emailed them yesterday. Hey, where are my shirts? I have yet to receive a reply. And so I just got to publicly announce, never use Teespring to make custom shirts. You're never going to get them on time. You're just, or order them a year in advance. Plan your events if you ever need to do custom shirts a year in advance, and then order them, and then maybe you can get them. Just got to say that. We're just going to start with that. It has nothing to do with wrestling. But I threatened them in my email that I'm going to publicly disparage them, and there it is. I don't lie when I make threats like that. Now my listeners can know. Never use Teespring. I don't like the company. I've always had bad experiences with them, but they're one of the only ones that allow you to create merchandise to sell to people without having to pay like a fee to have the website, right? And so I don't know what I'm going to do about merchandise, but I'm not using Teespring no more. Or while it's still up, slapamewrestling.com, you can go and buy merch now and expect to receive it by WrestleMania next year, possibly next SummerSlam. Who knows? That's up to you. With that, let's talk about the actual news. There's two big stories. The first one that I thought was interesting was there's backstage rumors that backstage they don't view Jade Cargill in the same light as Rhea Ripley. It's like the future of the business. Now, when I first read this, I was like, well, that should be common sense. Like, Jade Cargill's not the future of the WWE. She's much older, not by much, but and it's not like she looks old, but she's much older. I don't think she's going to be here long term. I think Rhea's more into the wrestling side of it. I think Jade is more into using this as a stepping stone to get into something like modeling or acting. And so obviously, I think like this to me isn't newsworthy, but it is interesting because this is something I'm surprised that James and Cody didn't try to talk about this, about how WWE's not going to bury Jade or something like that. But like, and you can go listen to their stuff on Thursday nights if you need a good laugh. The Beyond the Junkyard podcast, Thursday nights, 9 p.m. live on the Junkyard Media Group YouTube page. But yeah, Jade is not Rhea Ripley, and I don't know anyone who actually thought Jade would be in the same realm of Rhea Ripley. Like, they're two vastly different characters, vastly different people with vastly different career paths, right? And so I don't know if they ever saw Jade in the same light as Rhea Ripley. So I don't even know if this is newsworthy, but it was just something that sort of caught my eye. The big thing we definitely got to talk about, though, is this new WWE and ESPN deal. Right, and I'm conflicted with how I feel on this, right? Because on one side you have the IWC completely losing their mind, and these are when I say IWC, I don't like using that term to like point out certain groups because IWC is the internet wrestling community, and as I've said, words mean things. So if you're on the internet and you're talking about wrestling in a community, you're part of the IWC, right? Right? And so what I really should have said is, you got the sickos, you got the hardcore of hardcore fans, you got the white knights on Twitter and on Facebook and in these groups just complaining about this new PLE ESPN deal where, from my understanding, it's just going to be the PLEs on ESPN. And a lot of the complaining has nothing to do with actual facts. They just see the price tag, and let me be honest with you. I don't want to come here with a opinion that seems privileged. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh yeah, let's just add another $30. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still waiting to hear back from, they have on ESPN, their contact for this news story, they had left their email address right? And I sent an email, very professional email saying, hey, can you answer these questions? I'm still waiting to hear back because I need to know if YouTube TV is covered in, and now I can probably wait 13 days when their app, when the ESPN direct-to-consumer app drops, to go log into YouTube TV and see if it works. And I don't really need the answers. We'll get our answers on the 21st when the app drops. But it would be great if this PR rep would get back to me. That way I have answers. Right. Now, if YouTube TV isn't covered, isn't one of the pay TV services that they allow you to just log into, I don't know if I'm watching PLEs next year. Because I'm going to be honest with you. We have a section of wrestling podcasters who come from a very privileged position of they have disposable income. And so when they see this deal, they just sort of see this as, oh, well, okay, this is big money mainstream. We'll just pay the $30 and that's a very privileged position. When well over 50% of Americans probably, or what would be considered low income. I'm actually looking up that stat right now. Let's see here. My point is I'm willing to bet that a lot of the fans are living paycheck to paycheck or struggling to make ends meet as it is right now. And there's a large subsection of fans who can't afford this. If they have to add another $30, like if I have to pay YouTube TV, because that's how I watch television, and so I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, these people complaining about the price are irrational. This is a very rational thing, right? You're having to spend a lot of money to watch pro wrestling. Now, if that's the only thing, my point is this, if that's the only thing that you watch, yes, I 100% understand where you're coming from. Now, if people are acting like this $30 price tag is just for the WWE PLEs, it's not. It's for the entire direct-to-consumer app, which is every ESPN channel, their library, documentaries, essentially ESPN Plus, I would assume, plus all their channels, so you can watch them directly, sort of a la carte, where you can cut, if all you watch, and let me tell you what this price is a good thing for. If all you watch is football on ESPN, and all you watch is ESPN, and you don't really need the rest of cable, well, you can cut YouTube TV and stop paying $90 a month and just pay $30 and get your ESPN stuff. Now, the problem with that is what my fear is with this is every channel is going to start doing the same thing, or every media company, and this is where we talk about like the illusion of choice in media. There's only like 6 media companies that run all the networks, right? So my fear is then that you'll get like ESPN and their channels, and essentially this is going to be ESPN Sports, right? Or Disney Sports division, right? And so then Disney Plus is the rest of like Disney's entertainment source, right? And then you'll have Peacock, which is NBC Universal, and then the USA Network is essentially NBC Sports used to be. So maybe they'll create their own app just for USA and all their sports stuff, but you can get all that on Peacock anyway. So I don't know why they would do that. But the problem is now you're paying $30 for this app, $18 for this app, and so I get it. I understand the monetary concern here. A lot of wrestling fans are not going to be able to watch PLEs. They're just not. And so I completely, like, I want to be that voice to say, hey, WWE, this isn't necessarily the best move. I remember back when the WWE Network was a thing. And this was back when I first started getting into wrestling. That WrestleMania 30 was the first one on the network. Or that was the launch of the network. I think they did that as pay-per-view, and then going forward, everything was going to be on the network, right? And so, I mean, we've been 12 years at this point. Or 11 and a half years at that point since the network dropped. And I remember when it dropped, saying to my friends, saying to Cody, saying to James, this would be cool if they could put Raw and SmackDown on the network. Right? Because they had NXT on there. You had the PLEs. If they, instead of needing, like, I was saying WWE should get ahead, because even 10 years ago I was saying everything's going streaming. WWE's trying to get ahead of it with the app or their PLEs, but everything's going streaming. Unfortunately, somewhere down the line, rather than running their own app, they decided, let's just sell the library. And the Peacock deal wasn't bad. Now, here's where I really have, like, this isn't surprising. Like, you had to figure once Endeavor got the company, they were going to move WWE PLEs to ESPN. They already have the relationship with UFC. A lot of the guys in the higher up positions are all buddy-buddy, and they're going to do whatever fills their wallet. I'm not going to sit here and act like that doesn't happen. Right? And so, yeah, I understand the financial strain. But I don't think it's that, like, the deal itself, if we just look at the deal itself, this makes WWE a lot of money. A lot of people are like, oh my God, you know, as much as they're my brother, my best friend, like, as much as I respect their opinion, they are sitting here acting like what WWE did, and they said this on their podcast last night on Beyond the Junkyard, that this is WWE selling out like Turner did to AOL, and this is going to be WCW all over again. Calm down. This is not the end of WWE. WWE is not going anywhere. TKO wants to make money, and that's what businesses do. This is if you live in the business world, big corporations buy companies so that they could sell those companies, right? It's all about portfolio in the business world. I'm going to buy this company. I'm going to add something to it. That way the worth of this company goes up. I'm then going to sell it, and I'm going to make a profit on my investment. To Endeavor, because that's the parent company. To Endeavor, WWE TKO is an investment. I'm going to buy UFC cheap. I'm going to add something to it. I'm going to give it I'm going to put it on ESPN. I'm going to build things to it. We're going to build it into the biggest MMA style of fighting. And then eventually when it's no longer financially beneficial for me to have it, I'm going to sell it. The WWE is the same thing. It would not surprise me if in 10 or 15 years Endeavor sells WWE. Because that is the way business works. I don't think it's going to be in the future because it's making Endeavor a lot of money. It is. But also you got to recognize Dwayne is friends with Ari Emanuel, who owns Endeavor, or is the CEO of Endeavor, and there's buddy deals that take place in big business. Color me shocked, rich people are corrupt, right? I don't think the deal was bad. I don't necessarily think it's a good deal either, right? I really was hoping that they would, as part of the Netflix deal, bring everything over to Netflix. That way it could only be one app. But what a part of this tells me is that Peacock is, the thing that's exciting is that Peacock is now available to bring in something like TNA or something like AAA, to still maintain that relationship and saying, hey, we got this thing here. I know we're leaving, but we got TNA here. Why don't you use TNA to keep people who watch wrestling on Peacock? And that's big for them. And that's big for TNA. If I could, if I don't need TNA Plus to watch TNA, and I don't have to pay $50 a pay-per-view, and they can be seen on Peacock, that's big for TNA. I think that's where this benefits, right? Everyone wants to make WWE out to be some big bad bully, but they're really putting a lot of interest in the TNA product, and from a corporate standard. I mean, the fans are going to like it no matter what, but from a TV deal standard, TNA's never been more popular. We got companies trying to bid to put it on TV because of the NXT rub. I think that's fun. I think that's where this deal benefits wrestling. Is it expensive? Absolutely. I know it costs, I've sat here forever and said WWE has priced out its main fan base, that it is becoming, where the big events are going to draw the celebrities, but it's not going to draw the fans. And so I want to say this, as they continue to price out me and the other middle lower class, as they begin to price those out, I don't want to hear you people cheering for this deal, acting like it's a good deal. We have disposable income. We'll just pay another $30 a month. I don't want to hear you complaining about crowd noise, because the celebrities aren't going to cheer. They have no real emotional connection to the product. The people who are going to cheer, you want people, you talk about crowd noise, you want people that are going to cheer. Well, those are the people you're pricing out of your arenas. Right? So, I don't think the business is going anywhere. I think the deal overall is a good thing. But so that's sort of the sicko side. On the on the more casual side, there's an overreaction of how good this deal is. where they're picturing WWE ending up on First Take and Sports Center, and guys, this is a distribution deal. All this is hey, we're going to put our PLEs on your app to watch. This has nothing to do with Sports Center. We're not going to hear Stephen A. Smith talk about and breaking down wrestling matches. We're not going to have Scott Van Pelt coming live from WrestleMania. That's not what this deal is about. That's not what this is about. This is literally a distribution deal. We're going to put WWE on an ESPN product, or on a Disney product known as ESPN. Will we get interviews about WrestleMania? Sure, but we had those before the deal. We've been having those forever. Will Seth Rollins, join a show and talk about? Yeah, sure, why not? But he's been doing that even before the deal. Will they possibly talk about WrestleMania? Sure, but they did that before the deal. This isn't going to give them exclusive cartoons. They're not part of Disney. They're part of ESPN, and I know Disney owns ESPN, but this is an exclusive, notice, only for the PLE distribution deal. This has nothing to do with getting your WWE talent as actors on Disney movies or in Marvel or any of that. None of that's going to happen with this deal. Could it happen in the future? Sure. Could this deal lead to relationships being formed with Disney and WWE and some of the talent and then maybe something happens? Sure. I'm not going to say that that's not in the realm of possibility in the near future, but this deal doesn't guarantee that. This deal is only, we're going to take your 10 PLEs a year and air them and host them on ESPN. That's all this is. That's all it is. I don't think they're going to play into the booking. There's a lot of people complaining, oh, TKO, and they're forcing Triple H books. That they trust Triple H to book. And when they no longer trust Triple H to book, he will be out of a job. But as for now, Triple H has the job. The reaction to this on both sides are a little bit crazy. Let's just wait for it to play out. Everyone's arguing over price. Everyone's like, oh, well, you said this, but this is, I see. Can we stop with the rumors and the innuendo? Wait till the 21st when the app drops. If you have YouTube TV or you have Sling or you have any of these services on the 21st, download the app, log into your account, see if it'll let you have it for essentially free. I would see no reason why YouTube TV wouldn't. YouTube TV makes up a large percentage of the pay TV market. Right? And so I don't see any reason why they wouldn't allow YouTube TV to have the channels, right? If they don't, I'll just tell you I'm not watching PLEs next year. And that's going to be a pain for me. That's going to be a real heartbreaker for me. Right? But it is that's business. And at the risk of losing your middle to lower income families to get the celebrity and to get the people with the disposable income to come to the buildings and to get, hey, if that's what they want to do, if they want to make more money for them, what do I expect a businessman to do? I'm not going to be upset. Right? I'm not going to shout at the sky because businessman does what businessmen do. That a corporation that's completely designed to make money makes money. I'm not going to shout at that. I'm going to be a little disappointed that they're doing it at my expense. But it is what it is. It's what happens when you deal with corporations, right? We can go into a whole political argument that this, a lot of people on the internet are shouting, well, this is the effects of capitalism. This is not capitalism. This is corporatism, completely different, right? But that's a different argument. And so the deal's important. It's interesting how it's going to play out. But I don't think anything changes about the product. I think both sides of what I just broke down are over exaggerating. Some are over exaggerating, saying it's the end of WWE. Some are saying this is the greatest thing to ever happen. We're gonna get Becky Lynch in movies, and we're gonna have WWE cartoons. No. None of that's happening right now. This is just, we want your 10 PLEs on our distribution center, our app. And that's all this is. And we're going to pay you money for it. But that's all this is. That's all it is. All right? So let's stop over-exaggerating. And let's just move on from it, right? So now we're moving to Deep 5. My top 5 men, my top 5 women on the main roster. Excuse me. I start with the men. This list is gonna get me in trouble. So we'll start with number 1, Braun Breaker. I think he's the future of the business. I've been saying that forever. I told everyone like 3 years ago, if WWE was smart, he would be the next Paul Heyman guy, and they listened to me. I think this was destined to happen. And he's probably the best thing, right? Him and Bronson Reed as a team are perfect. I said this last week or the week before that. I don't think they need Seth Rollins. In fact, I think at some point they need to turn on Seth Rollins. At some point, I think at some point, Paul, Bronson, and Braun need to turn on Seth. And that I think would be the best move to make, in my opinion. Number 2, and quite possibly the best heel in pro wrestling today, is Dominic Mysterio. Now, I remember a time on TikTok where there was this argument about Dominic's never going to make it as a success in wrestling, and no one buys Dominic shirts. I remember a podcaster saying, right? And how wrong that podcaster has been. Dominic Mysterio's the best thing in WWE, I think, as a character, in my opinion. Because he not only can he attract the American audience, and he does that, right? Females are all over Dom. Men want to be Dom, girls want to be with Dom. But Dom could then go to Mexico, and Dominic Mysterio steals the show in Mexico. And Dom can go overseas and steal the show. Dominic Mysterio is a global icon. Now, is he known by people who don't watch wrestling? Does he pass the airport test? Probably not. But name me a wrestler today that passes. Name me a wrestler in the history of wrestling outside of the 3 years known as the Monday Night Wars and the Attitude Era where people passed the airport test. Right? I don't think a lot of people who don't watch wrestling know who wrestlers are. That kind of makes sense. That's like a logical statement to make. Right? And I'll be honest with you, if I saw Hulk Hogan in the 80s, I wouldn't say he's a pro wrestler. Like, if I didn't watch wrestling in the 80s and I didn't know who Hulk Hogan was and I saw him in the airport, I wouldn't say, oh, that guy must do carnival acts. No, he looks like a football player. That's what I would say, right? Right? So I don't think there's a lot of people in wrestling today who pass the airport test. Even the popular ones. That, right? But Dominic Mysterio is probably the best thing in wrestling right now. Right? And part of me hopes that he wins the championship next weekend at Triple Mania. Even for 2 reasons. One, I think he should have a world title, and I think it would add to the ego of him on Raw. But secondly, because I want to hear the crybaby sickos complain about, oh, you guys complain about Mercedes all the time, winning championships from other companies, and all WWE has done is take titles from other companies. Yeah, but you know what? We do it on national television. They get defended on national television, and guess what? There's actually a benefit to it. They're actually established companies. Like Mercedes won a title from a random Polish, and look, this is nothing against Poland. I love Poland, right? A random Polish promotion that she randomly has the belt on TV, never defends it, never talks about it, and I haven't seen her go back to defend the title. Right, there's a big difference in that. But I also think this is going to extend the story for AJ and Dom, so I think AJ's getting involved in that match and costing Dominic the match. Right? Number 3. You'll notice a theme here that I like, heels. Number 3 is Solo Sikoa, the real tribal chief. Everyone acknowledge our true tribal chief, Solo Sikoa. This man, since going by himself in this run right here this year, has found some personality. He's found some charisma that I knew he had that a lot of people have it. And this dude, I told everyone Solo would be the dude. Right? He's the best member of the family. Right now, right? Number 4 is Gunther. Quite possibly the best wrestler on the planet. And never has a bad match. He's really worked on his promo game, and so hopefully when he comes back from whatever his surgery is, ready to get that title back, whatever the feud ends up being, I hope it's in time. I want to see him in Dragunov. And Dragunov is rumored to come back around the end of this month. So I'm hoping Gunther is ready and can fight him. I want to see that at a big... I think you could start the feud now to end it at like a Survivor Series or something like that, right? Possibly, because what I want to see with Gunther is, now that Brock is back, I want to see Brock and Gunther at WrestleMania. Brock's like final Mania moment is putting over Gunther, right? And then you could send him home at SummerSlam in Minnesota with a win on his last match, for whoever it's against, right? And then number 5, and this is where I'm going to get in a lot of trouble with a specific member of our listening audience who listens to every episode, and I'm probably going to get an earful on this one. But my number 5 top men in wrestling, number 5, and as much as this pains me to say this, is Sami Zayn. We can hate the character, we can hate the guy, we can hate all of that. And I absolutely despise this gimmick. I absolutely despise Sami Zayn possibly being world champion like I've predicted. But we have to admit that when it comes to performing, Sami Zayn's on the top of his game right now. He's playing the gimmick perfectly. And he's going to be the guy that beats Seth Rollins for the world championship. I just feel it. We have to get around that. We don't have to like it, but we have to understand it. And Sami Zayn is better than a majority of the men on the roster. That should tell you how bad the roster is, though. Right? That tells you that we have a lot of injuries. Because if Dragunov was back, he'd be on the list. If Owens was back, he'd be above him on the list. Right? You notice, guys. So, like, Cody's not on the list to me. Because I don't think Cody doesn't do it for me, right? He just doesn't. I'm glad he's champion. I'm glad we got Cena as a babyface again. But none of what they've been doing here recently does it for me, right? Look, I love Montez Ford, but he's not doing it for me. The Wyatts aren't doing it for me. The men's side of the roster's struggling on the main roster, right? Now we're going to where it's even harder, and we're going to the women's division. The top 5 women currently in women's wrestling on the main roster. This time we're going to start at number 5. And number 5 to me is Chelsea Green. I told you last episode when I watched Unreal, I gained a newfound respect for Chelsea Green. Her mindset of, I'm here to be booked. I don't care if I win or lose. If I'm on the show, I'm getting seen. That's the mindset I think any wrestler should have. And the mindset that really earned me some respect of her. Number 4 is Becky Lynch. As much as I don't like heel Becky, I think Becky works better when she's the cocky babyface. We got to be honest with you. First off, this promo against Nikki Bella was one of the better promos I've heard Becky tell in almost a year. Reminds me of an older, like a Becky of the past that was very good on the mic. And so that was a good promo. I'll be honest, getting her out of the feud with Lyra allows me to cheer for Becky now. And so I like Becky. I've always liked Becky. I think she's a top 5 woman right now on the roster. Number 3 is Rhea Ripley. And there's nothing Rhea Ripley does wrong. Outside of, the thing that I don't necessarily care about Rhea has always been It almost feels like she's always forced to win. She ate a pin at SummerSlam, right? That's something we haven't really seen her do in a while. In a match where there's a triple threat, she typically is there to dominate and then not win. And if she's not winning, she's not part of the decision, like at WrestleMania. But Rhea Ripley does nothing wrong. I've never seen her really have a bad match. She has some off matches every now and then. I'm not going to say like Gunther. So Gunther never has a bad match. Rhea rarely has a bad match, right? Liv Morgan is number 2. I've noticed that, hey, I've been super harsh on Liv in the past, and I've said this before, but I think Liv Morgan may be the best thing on the women's division right now. From a pure draw standpoint, she draws all the men to her. She draws women to her. Liv Morgan is a draw, which is crazy to say that if you were to go watch NXT Liv Morgan, you would never think that she would probably be one of the most popular women in pro wrestling. But number 1 to me, y'all knew this was coming. Number 1 to me is Lyra Valkyria. Lyra Valkyria has to be on the list. Now, these aren't necessarily in order. This is just the order I thought of them. But Lyra Valkyria, when I said who's 5 women on the roster that I think are at the top of their game right now, the first person that came to mind is Lyra Valkyria. She's on the top of her game. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it was never supposed to be. Right? And so Lyra Valkyria is number 1. Which leads us to Fantasy Book Friday. Which is going to be, I'm fantasy booking, everyone always complains, Lyra Valkyria as a babyface doesn't work, she's not, right? There was even someone who said she's not committed to the bird gimmick. And I need to respond to that. Because her gimmick isn't she's a bird. Her gimmick is she's a Morrigan. And I've already explained this, but I got to do this again. Because what happens is people make ignorant statements like she never commits to her gimmick without actually understanding the gimmick. She's a Morrigan. She's not a bird. Right? Now, Morrigan in Irish mythology are shapeshifters. Meaning they don't stay in bird form. They do show themselves as crows or ravens, which is why she wears the wings to the ring. But Morrigan don't stay in bird form all the time. They could show up as kings or queens or witches or just normal townswomen, which is why Lyra shows up sometime wearing normal clothing. Right? And her Becky stompers. Y'all can hate on that promo all you want. That was funny and entertaining. But, yeah. What more does she need to do to commit to being exactly what she's being? Which is a shapeshifter. She's a normal human being on a week-to-week basis, and then when it's time for war, she shows up in bird form. Also got to understand that mythology is religion, and in religion, crows and ravens and birds in general often represent chaos and death. Right? What more does she need to do? Right? The problem is she needs to be a heel if she's going to be this gimmick. Right? And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to book, and I think that's where they're taking her, is turning her heel. And so that's what WETOODEEP is going to do. How would I turn her heel from this moment on? Right? So we go to Raw on Monday. Bear with me. We're going to go week to week for this. Next Monday, we're going to go to Raw. Remember, we ended last Monday's segment with Lyra basically telling Bayley, stay the hell out of my life. So we'll go into next Monday. Bayley goes to the ring, says, Lyra, we need to talk. Please come out here. She apologizes for, the strike that cost the match. Lyra then responds. Again, we start the show with this, or very early in the show. Maybe Bayley's scheduled for a match. She does her entrance. You know how they like to do this sometime where someone's scheduled for a match. They make their entrance and they cut a promo and then they go to commercial, and when they come back, the match is going on. We could do one of these segments early in the show. Bayley apologizes. Lyra looks at her sort of blank-faced and says, "Some wounds just don't heal." Right? Go to commercial, come back. Lyra's watching from the stage, just sort of blankly staring at Bayley. Right? Silent, creepy, doesn't interfere, but she's like staring a hole into her soul. Right? Next week, Lyra has a match. Ivy Nile, some other jobber, mate, right? Where she beats the ever-living hell out of them. It's brutal. There's no emotion. She cuts a promo after the match that says something like, "The Morrigan does not forget even what you've tried to bury." Right? Something, again, creepy. You know, not spooky like Wyatt Six spooky, but we're playing into the mythology here, right? Well, the next so that's Raw on the 19th. Raw on the 20th, or excuse me, SmackDown on the 22nd. Excuse me, SmackDown on the 22nd is in Dublin, Ireland. You're not going to tell me that Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch are not going to be in Dublin, Ireland. Becky's going to do her own thing, but Lyra and Bayley could be there. Bayley can have some opponent, again, like an Ivy, or they're on SmackDown, so you can have like Selena or I don't know if Bianca's ready or not yet to wrestle, but a sort of mid-card, upper mid-card meet-in or something like that, where Bayley wins, right? Lyra comes out, dun dun dun, woo, dun dun dun, woo, and the crowd's going to be loud because it's Ireland, right? She comes out, and she's like happy Lyra again, right? There's emotion on her face. She's smiling. She's in her hometown, right? She gives Bayley a hug in the middle of the ring. And then her face changes. I don't know if she knows Gaelic. I don't know how to pronounce it in Gaelic. I wish I did. Gaelic is a beautiful language. I don't know if she knows Irish Gaelic, but if she does, she can speak it. That would add to the mystique. An dorted toson anseo. I think it's how it's pronounced. Essentially, the spilling begins here. Right? The crowd's confused. Lyra walks out alone. The camera turns back to Bayley, and she's holding a black feather. She leaves confused. End of the segment, right? That's Friday night, the 22nd in Dublin on SmackDown. The next Raw, 4 days later. Lyra does a vignette or a promo from a dark room that's sort of like candle lit. She says something along the lines of like, she raised her hand in friendship and it struck me. And there are no accidents in fate. Remember, the Morrigan is the goddess of fate, death, and war, right? There are no accidents in fate. But, later that night, Bayley's getting ready. She's in the locker room. Maybe you hear a scream during a backstage segment, which causes them to go find her in the locker room. Again, she's holding another black feather. Right? September 2nd. So this is the follow-up to the Paris show, by the way. Nothing happens at Paris between these two, but September 2nd, Bayley's on Raw. Maybe she has a match. Another mid-card upper tier wrestler. Maybe she's wrestling Asuka. Maybe she's wrestling, Io, Nikki Bella, something along the lines, right? Lyra, at some point, middle of the match, while the action's going on, she walks down. She goes ringside and she just sits down cross-eyed, staring in the soul of Bayley. Bayley's distracted, but she's still able to catch the win. As she wins, she turns around and Lyra's still sort of staring at her. The lights maybe flicker, go off for 2 or 3 seconds, and Lyra's gone. Right? The next Raw, Lyra cuts a promo. Your fear isn't of me, it's of what I already know. Your legacy will end by my hands. Right? Something like that. That's it. That's all you get for that September 9th episode of Raw. September 16th, Bayley calls out Lyra. Lyra doesn't show. Her music starts playing, but she's not coming down the ramp. All of a sudden, the lights go dim in the crow's nest, literally called the crow's nest. This would be a perfect place to do. This is where Darby Allin likes to hang out, by the way. She appears in the crow's nest, the top of the arena, the highest point, right? And she's just staring down at Bayley. And have someone on commentary, whether it's, I would probably have it be Michael Cole, say something along the lines of, it's like she's hunting Bayley. There's maybe a match on commentary between them, says this is going to be a future reckoning, right? The next week on Raw, Bayley maybe he's coming into the arena. Maybe this is how you start the show. Bayley's walking into the arena. She walks into the locker room and notices her locker's been defaced. And there's a feather pinned with the IC logo on it. Again, that doesn't make sense in the story at this point, but it will here in a second. Because at this same point, Bayley, on the side, Bayley's having conversations. She's going to fight at Crown Jewel in Perth against Becky Lynch for the IC title in Crown Jewel. Right? And so you're 3 weeks away from Crown Jewel, so now Bayley, Lyra's now saying, if you win, I'm coming after that belt, right? She stares at it. She cuts a promo, says, whatever this is, it's ending soon, right? The next week, Lyra does a vignette, a little cryptic. It says, you seek closure, but the prophecy isn't over until the Raven feasts. Right? The go-home show to Crown Jewel. Lyra has a match. Again, Ivy Nile, Asuka, Kairi Sane, something like that. Some upper echelon wrestlers, right? Again, dominant victory. Stares into the kingdom or into the camera and says, the crown will fall into the wrong hands. No one's going to know what it means. It's going to be a little cryptic, right? Crown Jewel happens. Bayley beats Becky and wins the women's IC title. Right? She's all excited. She's happy. She's just won the title. But as she's celebrating, the lights flicker. The screen goes black and white, and you see black feathers falling. You can then hear like a glitch in the audio microphones, and all you hear is Lyra whispering, "You've claimed what was never yours." Right? That would be a beautiful way to end the show, in my opinion. On that cliffhanger. The next Monday Night Raw, October 14th, Bayley cuts a promo backstage saying Lyra can stalk all she wants, but she's not taking this title. Lyra appears behind her in the reflection of the monitor. Bayley then turns, and she's not actually there. Shape-shifting, right? Lyra's in here, and like a voiceover, you didn't steal the crown. You inherited the curse. Maybe later that night, hey, Bayley, I know your hometown is San Jose. That's where we're at on SmackDown. I'll meet you there. Bayley's, again, that's SmackDown the 17th. Bayley's in San Jose, her hometown. She's cutting a promo to start the show. This is SmackDown. This is my hometown. What's up, San Jose? The promo's interrupted. The lights go out. When the lights come back on, Lyra's in the ring, attacking Bayley, beating the ever-living hell out of her. Drapes her in a cloak made of feathers. And, crushes her into the mat, right? She stares at the IC title. And again, if she knows Gaelic, this is perfect. But I don't know if she knows Gaelic. I don't know how to pronounce this. But anyway, essentially, this is your end. This is your destiny. This is the end. This is what you've earned by winning what's rightfully mine. You get to the next Raw. Bayley's not there, but Lyra is. Cuts a promo. Again, notice this is a lot of promo build because that's what the weekly television is for. The champion has no voice. The Predator took her breath. The match is made. Survivor Series. Right? Something like that. The next week, Lyra cuts a vignette out of the arena promo. Again, I know those are weird, but she's in some random forest somewhere. War is not waged in gold. It's written in prophecy, and yours ends in November. The next week, it's November 4th. Bayley returns, angry, hot-headed, full of fire. Says she wants Lyra, no tricks and no games. And she's in the ring saying this. Lyra appears on the screen. Says, you've come too late for the light. Again, doesn't have to make sense. What the hell does that mean? Right? November 11th. Again, Bayley's locker room is defaced with feathers. In looking through it, she finds some parchment paper, like a scroll. She unrolls it and says, feather by feather, the raven builds a throne. You have the go-home show to Survivor Series a few weeks later. You do the contract signing. Lyra never sits down. She just stares blankly through Bayley. Bayley signs the contract, says she's not afraid of Lyra, in which Lyra says something along the lines of, good, that'll just make your fall enjoyable. Right? Then you get the Survivor Series, San Diego, California, Petco Park. IC Championship match, Lyra versus Bayley. Lyra comes out in this, Irish mythical Morrigan war garb. You got the cloak, you got a feathered mask. New entrance music, right? More dark, ominous, thunder, raven type music. Right? The match is violent. It's emotional. It's a banger. Bayley's trying to fight back as the good babyface does. Right? Lyra has a new finisher called the Omen's Edge. It's, whatever you want to call it. Right? She hits that off the top rope. Maybe it's like a DDT off the ropes or something. But she hits the Omen's Edge off the top rope. Lyra wins the IC title back. Post winning the match, she has the title on her shoulder. She stands over Bayley with her arms out like their wings, with the title on her shoulder. The arena starts to darken with crows and war drum sounds. And then you hear the prophecy is fulfilled. Long live the Morgan. This then builds into a longer-term faction, possibly an addition of Tatum Paxley. That makes sense from their NXT days. I know she's in the Secret Harvest now, but Alba Fire would play perfectly into this gimmick. Bring back someone like Isla Dawn would work for this gimmick. Yeah. I think even bring back like Valhalla as Sarah Logan. Bring her back. Add the War Raiders in this faction if you want to. Right? As sort of like the enforcers that protect the women. Right? I think that'd be good. I don't know about you. I know we spent a long time doing some fantasy booking. Let me know what you guys thought. Let's end out this show talking about some bracket battles. So we're continuing on the best women's wrestler bracket. The 4 matchups for this week: Rhea Ripley versus Maxine Dupri. Zelina Vega versus Alexa Bliss. Zoe Stark versus Thunder Rosa. And Harley Cameron versus Liv Morgan. So our question of the week in the Discord was, what was your favorite wrestling moment? I posted a couple. I think the greatest wrestling moment of all time, I'm going to be honest, is Daniel Bryan winning the title. That's my favorite. It's the thing, like, when I think of pro wrestling and moments, that's what I think of, is Daniel Bryan winning at WrestleMania 30. We also have the moment of The Undertaker's streak ending at WrestleMania 30. I think that goes down as, in my opinion, WrestleMania 30 is I can't say the greatest off of 2 moments, but it's one of the greatest wrestling moments in PLE's, WrestleManias. It's definitely top 3. I think more personally for me, just being at WrestleMania 33 wasn't necessarily the best show, but as a moment, just being in the crowd was just a great show for me. You know, historically, things that I didn't watch live, but, you know, Rock versus Hogan at, WrestleMania 18. Hogan winning the title in Madison Square Garden off of Sheik in 84, I still say is the greatest wrestling moment of all time, because without it, Hulkamania doesn't start. And if Hulkamania doesn't start, WrestleMania doesn't start. And if WrestleMania and all of that doesn't start, we don't have wrestling as it is. So there's that. Continue to comment what your favorite wrestling moments are, but there'll be a new question on Monday. We got one question from the Discord from B-Master asking about my opinion on Zilla Fatu's mom going off on Rikishi, saying that he was a moocher, and the only reason that was, and this whole drama between Rikishi, because Rikishi critiqued Zilla for painting his face, sort of like Jeff Hardy at TNA's Slammiversary on the pre-show. It's something stupid. Rikishi always got something stupid to say, bro. Rikishi always got something to say. I'm be honest with you, I don't pay attention to the drama like this. This is just stupid. So I don't really have an opinion, I'm going to be honest with you. Who's telling the truth? I don't know. Nor do I really care. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm trying to, what I'm really looking forward to in doing with this podcast is trying to just focus on the television show. Just focus on the characters. Just focus on the story. All that outside drama, I don't care about anymore. I just don't. I'm just going to do what I always do, which is give my insight on a TV show. Right? My final thoughts, Kara actually posted a video in the Discord of Dominic. I guess they were doing some sneaker shopping, and Dominic dropped like $9,000 for sneakers for Liv Morgan. And now I know it was probably just promotional, and the company either paid for it or Liv paid Dom back But I think that's crazy. And this brings a different sort of. I don't really care that Dom bought Liv shoes, and I made a joke in the Discord when Kara posted it that she must be giving out, because for me to spend $9,000 on shoes for you, I got to get something in return, with the joke that I made. I really don't care. I don't understand the culture behind buying $1,000 shoes. And maybe it goes back to, talking about I'm scraping by paycheck to paycheck, barely can pay bills. I possibly, if I had thousands of dollars like they had to spend, it wouldn't be shoes. I'm going to be honest with you. If I didn't have to wear shoes ever again, I wouldn't. I don't like wearing sneakers. I don't. I don't like them. I don't like tying my shoes. I just don't. I'm a comfort person. I have wide feet, so a lot of sneaker companies don't make shoes. Like Nike doesn't make shoes for wide feet. Or you got, excuse me, you got to get them like custom ordered. I'm not a sneaker person, right? And so I don't understand the culture of buying thousands of, and I don't understand how shoes can cost you that much money. I just don't get it. And I know I'm ignorant to that culture. But what I do get, and the shoes I do like to wear are Crocs. These things are $50. They last like 2 years. You can wear them wherever. And I like Crocs so much, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm going to offer you a surprise. Another masterpiece, we shall say. For the final time. This is going to be the last time I do it, right? And I promise you this is going to be better than Tuesdays. I like Crocs so much. I wrote an entire 4.5-ish minute song, rap. It's a rap song, so I'm not singing this time. I know the vocals sucked on the first song on Tuesday, right? If the lyrics are good though, right? So if someone wants to buy the lyrics from me, I'm always accepting money. And you can have them, but I think I do a good job on this one. And I like Crocs so much, I wrote them a song. I posted the song, and I tagged them on when I had Twitter and on Facebook to pay me to use this song that I'm about to play for you. Excuse me. As a promotional, or like in their promos. I don't even know if Crocs makes commercials anymore. But with that, without further ado, it's the Slapping Meat podcast debut. No more debuts of songs after this, right? This is it. But the Slapping Meat, this is the end of the gifts. No more. The Slapping Meat Wrestling Podcast debut of my rap about Crocs. If you ain't crockin', you ain't rockin'. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great episode. Enjoy the song. Yeah. It's RB. Slide on the foam, I'm in beast mode proper. Stepping out fresh like a dad at the opera. Rubber on my feet, got that lightweight honor. Crocs on my toes, man, I'm feeling like a scholar. Giblets on the strap, got my flex on blast. Catch me in the driveway mowing lawns real fast. Neon green camo clean or the glittery class. Crocs so mean, make a hater walk past. Heels get popped down, sport mode in session. Sunday strolls to grocery confessions. Ain't no Prada, ain't no Louis obsession. This $50 drip with a lifetime of blessings. Rock 'em with socks, man, that's the rave. Rock 'em no socks, man, that's still brave. 4-wheel drive when I hit that pave. Crocs got me feeling like I'm fresh out the cave. Dinner day fit, Crocs no shame. Wedding day drip, Crocs whole game. You show up in Jordans, that's cute, it's lame. I'm stepping in foam with ancestral flame. pop up in sport, we're going off real quick. Muck in mud, this life for the drip. Fishing on the dock, still styling and slick. Crocs so strong, got Poseidon feeling sick. Yo, they said, what are those back in 09? Now they got stop tickets breaking online. Kodaks with the chefs, the posties, the slime. Meanwhile, I'm just vibing with these classics of mine. Stepping through airports like a TSA Don. Slip 'em on, quit flex, move on. I ain't wearing lace-ups this last eon. I'm a Croc star, baby, foot games neon. I could wear Crocs to the Met Gala ball. Polka dot pair with the velvet shawl. Somebody stop me, I'm crocked out, y'all. Comfort in the drip like a waterfall. Post up in the kitchen, chef hat, Crocs locked. Stew in the pot, in the footwear's hot. Slip resistant, yeah, non-stop bop. Crocs save lives while your sneakers rot. Rainstorm come, Crocs laugh in they face, mudslide on. Crocs in first place, tucks on the top, foam shoes at the base. I could run a marathon or a rat race. Puddle jump king, puddle jump prince. Crocs on my feet like it's common sense. No blisters, no drama, no corporate mint. Just me, my Crocs, no wallet not spent. They say real G's moving silence like lasagna. I say real G's moving Crocs through piranha. Step so clean like I'm walking on Nirvana. You ain't crockin', bro, you just a non-starter. I'm out here looking like a wizard in foam. Wand in one hand, Crocs taking me home. I don't tiptoe, I stomp on Rome. Built for the streets in the garden gnome. Catch me at the cookout, Crocs in gear. Chicken on the grill, phone footwear near. Sauce on my toes, I don't shed no tear. Crocs wipe clean, now the path's all clear. Running errands in plaid pajama attire. Still got Crocs, still walk through fire. Style so loud it could blow out a tire. Rockin' Nikes, that's cute, you tired. Versatile flex, it's a 2-lane road. Business on top, relaxation mode. Ballet flats, wish they could hold this code. I'm a Crocs crusader, heavy in the load. From the beaches of Bali to the streets of Decatur. Crocs out here like they negotiate with haters. Comfy mafia, slide smooth like a skater. Talk bad on Crocs, meet your maker. Heel strap back when I'm ready for war. Heel strap up when I'm chilling indoors. They say fashion died, nah, Crocs gave it more. I'm size 13, battling societal norms. Pocket full of dreams, phone full of schemes. Croc wearing giant in the land of the memes. I'm not a sneakerhead, I'm a comfort king. You a foot soldier, I'm a Croc regime. Wear 'em the church, wear 'em the court. Crocs in the booth when I'm spitting this sport. Judge bang the gavel like that man got support. Case dismissed, Crocs came up short, never. Got the drip so slit, you should bottle and sell it. Crocs so hot, they should copyright and shell it. Old heads mad, but the young blood yell it. Slip in, slip out, Crocs run the planet. When I die, lay a pair at my grave. Classic black clogs, man, let your boy rave. Stomp through heaven's gates with a comfortable wave. Crocs on my feet in that eternal parade. Yeah, it's all B. Yeah, look, you ain't crockin' if you ain't rockin'. Wait, you ain't rockin', then you ain't crockin'. Sound like that. Yeah, nah, it's good. Yeah, 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 it's all B.
So hit that subscribe, come along for the ride. AEWWE, we're always on side. From fantasy booking to baddies that slay. Slapping, meet, wrestling every Tuesday.